so much happens in this movie. It's such a rush. It's such an insane ride. You almost can't believe what you're seeing. You're going to need to see it again to make sure you really did just see all that. I've done a lot of stunt-heavy movies. I've done some demanding roles, but this was a different level of keeping that energy, Nelly energy up, and kind of hitting all ends of the emotional spectrum. It was something. Honestly, just grateful to be a part of it. I mean, I know that's like the easy thing to say, but I really mean it. Like, I feel like being in this movie means that, yeah, someone in 20 or 30 or 40 years' time is going to be like, oh, wow, I love that Nelly character. You know, it would just last, I hope. He's unbelievable. He is just like a perfect director. So meticulous, never sells for anything else, but also gives you complete freedom. And the way he got stuff out of me, it's like, he just let me off leash. Like, he was like, go bigger. At any time I gave him the most, he asked for more. You're going to be gobsmacked after seeing this movie. It's just an amazing ride, but it makes you feel like you're there, like you're really immersed in that world, like you're on a film set, like you see movie magic being captured in the moment. And I've felt that before, and it's the best feeling in the world. And now people are going to watch this movie and they're going to feel that, and I'm just excited for it.
You know, we have this view on, I think, silent movie era as kind of calm, pristine. By all reports, it was a wild, wild west, and they were like anything could go. They were making up, you know, the rules as they went along, and that's what I think Damien Chazelle has captured here. There's like Fellini moments in the opening scene. It's funny, it's moving, and it's big. It's really big. We follow all these characters as they move and cross paths through this big seismic change from the silent era to the talkies. I have been really fortunate to work with some of our very, very best directors, and it really is a director's medium. And I'm still like, I'm amazed at how much he gets into a shot. I don't know how I could explain that other than it's so sumptuous, it's so visually, there's so much going on. You have to go back and I find other things that are happening in that scene. I feel really fortunate. I feel really blessed to be part of this film with these people, and really blessed just to be able to do this still, to tell stories. And I think the movie points that out too, that none of us are important. It's the community. It's those that come before us. It's those that will come after us. That what it's all about.
I think that there's no way to be ready for all this. I still have to pinch myself every morning to realize that this is going on and it's real life. It's the greatest experience I ever had in my life. He's going to be he's already, but he's going to be like really one of the greatest. And I'm very lucky to work with him. There's no one better. Honestly, it's my best acting experience. I own her so much in this one, and I just want to work with her again. Nobody's ready for Babylon yet.
Well, it was just the biggest thing I think I'd ever done that any of us had ever done. You know, it's like every scene in this is larger than life. It's like, you know, you start with like a party scene to end all party scenes. That was the hope. Then you're on a battlefield, movie sets shooting at once. Then you're at another party, a snake fight, a crocodile, an elephant. I mean, the whole, you know, it's like we threw everything into this movie, and you know, I wanted it to feel like a ride. So it's a full meal. So there's a lot in it. So I think you're going to get something different every time you see it. We tried to, even every image, you know, we tried to sort of frame it in depth. So you have foreground and background. You have different stuff going on in the frame at all times. So yeah, there's always something for the eye to look at, and I think every time you watch the movie, you'll see something else to look at, and that's, I think, part of the excitement of it. It was a dream come true. I mean, as a director, you know, it's like a kid in a candy shop. It took a while to assemble the cast. We were casting for about 1.5 years. It's the longest time I've ever spent casting a movie, but it was worth it. It's comedy and tragedy. It's got both in it, and I think people, you know, actors of the level of Margot or Brad or Gene or Giovanna Depo or, you know, Diego, what they can do is they bring this humanity to it. So no matter how, outrageous the stuff you see on screen is, and there's a lot of outrageous stuff in this movie. Margot fights a snake. That's outrageous. But she makes you believe it. You see the human being. You see the emotions underneath. That's real acting. That's not many people can pull that off. I started kind of conceiving this movie like 15 years ago. So Hollywood has changed even during the course of writing and making this movie. But yeah, you can't not be aware. Releasing this movie right now. It's there's a ton of parallels, and I think that makes the movie all the more. I think exciting for audiences today. I'd say also the parallels don't just extend to Hollywood today. They extend to every every workplace, industry, art form, way of life today. All over the world, people are feeling like they're in some kind of transition, like the world is changing, like technology is changing our lives. That's what this movie is about. It's about what it feels like to experience that kind of transition.
Damien basically said, I don't want to see any normal faces in this movie. I want everybody to be really unique. And Francine was like digging up to find characters.
And it's a lot of faces because it's a big cast.
Yeah. I mean, every shot, as I'm sure you saw, is like a canvas in a famous painting, in the sense that there's so much packed into it, and so I think that the more times you see it, the more you pick up on these little kernels, these little inside jokes, these nuances. I guess it's like it's a dense movie in that way, but you can watch it the first time and it's like a wild ride, and every time is sort of a different layer of experience. I think anybody who knows Damien's work, and this was my experience as his wife, when you watch this movie, you're gonna be shocked. Like, when I read this script, I couldn't believe that came out of him. It is so insane. So I don't think you can prepare yourself. You have to just see it. And definitely don't expect anything he's done in what you go in for, and then you'll hopefully be pleasantly surprised.
I had a blast. I mean, how could I not? Him and Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie. Especially Brad Pitt. No, he was a joy. He was always had a great sense of humor, always supportive, always complimentary. He looked like he was having more fun than anybody. It made it a real pleasure.
I was honestly so excited in the car on the way over, because for those of us who have seen the movie, we know how wild it is, we know how provocative it is, and how disruptive it is, and I just don't think people quite realize what they're getting into. So I'm kind of sort of like a little bit giddy to see how people respond. I truly think he's a genius. There's something quite magical about being in his presence, about being directed by him. He is freakishly observant. There are scenes in this film which have thousands of extras, I mean truly thousands of extras, and he would be able to come up to everybody, myself included, and have, when you moved your shoulder a little bit, that move it an inch back, when you touched your hair on that take, can you just touch your, he just sees every tiny little thing, and is so generous and so collaborative. And you'll see when you see the movie. Diego, who I think a lot of the people haven't seen in a movie yet, is such a movie star, and he's going to really blow people away. I mean, I think we all had this experience of when you first meet him, you sort of see this guy and you're just like, wow, you really feel like an iconic star of 50 years ago or something. He's got such a timeless quality to him.
It's big picture, it's big sound. I think it has incredible relatability. The struggle of anybody in the arts, but in this particular case, actors and filmmakers trying to make it at such a pivotal time in Hollywood. And I think what will surprise people is the depth of that story at a pivotal time. For me, it's a flavor that I don't see often. When I first saw the films he put out, Whiplash, First Man, La La Land, it's funny, it was one of the directors I said to my reps, I go, I want to work with him. And I sort of said that as, let me put that in the universe. So I'm not going to lie to you, the fact that I'm standing here talking to you right now, having been in one of his films, is wildly surreal. And just to be participating in a movie of this scope at the time was wildly intimidating, incredibly educational, but it was kind of like getting the gift you wished for, getting to work with him in a movie like this.
This movie, Babylon, is pure art. It's a giant, sprawling epic, and Damien Chazelle just followed his vision, come what may. He's not interested in trying to make something to sell. He's interested in pursuing his love for cinema, his absolute getting lost and immersing himself in a piece of art. Sometimes you need time, you need space, you need to be reckless in order to make something beautiful. And you might fail miserably, and you might succeed wildly like he did. And he's willing to take risks, and he's willing to follow his heart. And I'm just honored to help assist him in that endeavor. Damien, for one, he cares deeply about what he's doing. He's a humble student of film, and he's just going for it. He's letting people do their things. He's smart. He knows, let the actors run wild. Let them try everything that they can. Let them, rip out their hearts. Let them go for it. And the whole movie is, it's love to cinema. And that time in the United States or all over the world when the silent films transitioned to the talking films, that's a major cultural shift that changed the way our culture operated, as much as the advent of the computer or something. It's a huge shift in the psyche of the world, and and I've always been amazed by that period of history, and to see it captured so thoughtfully on film is awesome.
It shows a period of time in our history that is gone, is decadent, is memorable, and fun to watch. Well, it's an overused and abused word, but he's a genius. He's just a good old-fashioned genius. Well, it's bigger than life, so you have to see it on a big screen, and the detail is forever, so you got to see it more than once.
It's also about those magical moments and a love letter to cinema that you're like, this is why we do it. These historic, films and stories are important to be told, and there's such great talent out there in Hollywood that have come here, and you get to see what they do, and it lives forever. And I think you'll just be enamored with why you love film as well. There's these legendary directors of our time, right? And I've been lucky enough to work with some of them. Thank you, guys. Let's keep doing that. But they all have this innate ability. Yes, they're encyclopedic knowledge. They know cinema and how to make it look beautiful. But with actors, they really make you feel like, look, I am going to make you throw the touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. And you're like, what do you... I haven't even played... Are you crazy? But now before when you hear that, you're like, that's nuts. But in the moment, you're like, I'm Tom Brady. I'm going to win this goddamn game and get a touchdown. They all have that innate ability to make that actor feel like, oh my God, I feel like a god. And then we all feel that way. And when that magical moment is thumping, the room goes boom, boom. And then the DP and the rack focus and the PAs, everyone is thumping in one unit, and the great directors know how to make that moment special. And weirdly, this movie's about those moments too. So it's like we didn't want to let that down, and I hope it happened.